Hello, God bless. This is Daniel Maximov with a very important blog. In this video, I want to let you guys know what's been going on in my life. Why haven't I been posting as much as I used to? And the change in my life that I owe Yahweh my sincere thanks. So, anyways, um, not too long ago, it came out actually a couple of months ago. I came out of a serious depression, like a serious depression that I had bottled up for so long, and one day it exploded, and I remember I'm not a person who thinks of suicide. you know, Looking back at it now, it was very scary to actually have those thoughts in my mind. Um, I had a vision or a glimpse of me just throwing myself out of a bridge, or just throwing myself out of my apartment complex while all the neighbors were watching. I had that feeling. I'm never gonna forget that. I'm never gonna forget that. And the voices that were just telling me, "You're a loser. You're nothing. You're not even a Christian anymore. You're not even living a Christian life. You're a fraud, a loser, a hypocrite. All of the things you were taught since you were young to distance yourself from, you are all that now. So where you continue and nothing's going your way, so where you keep, existing, all those voices, that's what I've been. And I remember it wasn't, when all of that was going on, that I had to get on my knees for the first time in years, and I asked that God for help in my own way. I told him, um, I got into my knees, like, you know, like I never, like, you haven't, you cannot deal with this anymore. And and I got into my knees and I asked God, help me, like, please, please forgive me. Okay, like, and in that moment, I felt peace, like I never felt before in a very long time. I can't describe it. I can't describe it. You know, and I wanted to let you guys know what attributed to this depression. As you all are aware, I make content in reference to politics and cancel culture and the pharmaceutical industry and the deep state and all this mumbo jumbo that's going on, that's turning the world into an insane asylum. And you know, I haven't been reading my Bible, and you know, haven't been joining the church, haven't been volunteering as much as the church. Pretty much, and they noticed that I've been changing too. Like, I don't know about politics, that it's just freezes you inside, but it froze me to the point in where I no longer knew who I was. And I'm like, and after Twitter suspensions, after heated arguments, alienating myself from people who were intentionally liberals and following Trump and following Republicans and their ideologies, which are, I'm going to touch in on that. Um, you know, I became cold. My father and I, not, you know, not too long ago, I guess a year now, got into a heated argument over immigration. And my father is a window uh, repairman, and so he works in construction. Okay, my father and I got into a heated argument, which almost became physical. It was getting verbal, and I remember telling him, treating him like it's just another debater, and it got really bad. It got really bad. If it wasn't for my aunt and an uncle who were there to calm him down, he would have had beaten me up. Well, not really, because I was very prepared to defend myself if necessary, and it happened. He, um, we got into a heated argument that night. I went to my bed, and he went to his. The next day, he fell and he broke his arm, and his arm needed surgery because he broke the marrow, like the tendons, the bones. It was a mess, and his life changed from that day forward. He's no longer working there, and I took that as a, you know, as a, you like I guess you can say a sign that what I was doing was good. That you don't need your parents or friends in this war against, I guess you can say, the principalities of this realm, deep state. What you're saying was right. I was like in the immigration argument, and my parents, well, my dad does not talk up with me. Has ever since that accident, never ever does he talks politics with me. And I took it like, oh, you know, God is with me. In my Twitter, um, I annihilated people or ripped them to shreds with my arguments and my, you know, because the thing is that I base my ideas on what other conservative YouTubers used to say, and then I added my own. And there's nothing more exciting and that makes you feel strong than defeating a political opponent, especially online when you're fighting feminists and liberal losers and you know 13-year-old keyboard warriors. You name it. It's became for me. It became more like a sportsmanship, like just debate them to watch them squirm, and I lost touch with my Christian side on that. Like, I wasn't recruiting for God. I was just making other people upset to block me, mute me, suspend me, you name it. And I never realized until now that I was hurting a lot of people. And from the political standpoint, that's don't care about your feelings. Well, you need to consider the fact that words are a double-edged sword. You know, you can help somebody or you can destroy somebody even further than they already have. And there's nothing Christian about attacking people online just so you can be the one who comes out on top and alienating yourself from your family and friends and church, etc. I was becoming very depressed. You know, I had the taste of, I guess you could say, taste of glory. Like, I was like in the Twitter, particularly, I was getting celebrity status, You know, I was getting blocked by people with check marks. I was getting props, um, and and it wasn't until Twitter suspended me over something stupid because the censorship is still going on. But I don't care because God is in control, and they haven't censored God since the Bible was created. So what 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 good is if they haven't censored God since the Bible was created? And that goes back to ancient times. They're not gonna censor people speaking the truth now. So that comforts me. So I went on to Twitter suspended me, had to open another Twitter account and start all over. Then I realized that, this isn't worth it. I mean, in my school, I got into heated arguments in classes, and it just became all too consuming, and it turned me into somebody that I am not. And I'm not a life ruiner, and I'm not a stepping block for other people. I don't know if you guys have seen it with the conservative porn star that who I don't appreciate what they did to her, because it got her and she going attending that event that could have changed her life. She could have gotten the support she was, even though I don't agree that conservatism and porn goes together, because conservatism by definition means to conceal and not expose yourself to the public eye. But the reaction she got was negative, and I don't know if with the negative reaction, if she's going to keep being she's going to want to be conservative. Do you see what I'm getting at? You kind of become a stepping block, and that's what I'm seeing the Republican side, the white queen, as I call them, because I call the Democrats the red queen, but I call Republicans the white queen. And what caused me to distance myself from politics and from the Republican side is that Trump it's not going to solve anything. He wasn't going to solve anything. The guy's from Hollywood. He was never going to solve anything. And with everything so politicalized and controlled by Democrats, you weren't expecting a red wave. So, and God is the one who established its kings, and he's the one who is in control of all the world demands. So we tend to give Satan too much credit for what's going on, but it's God who is in control, who is omnipotent, who is allowing all of this to happen because he knows that the time is short for his coming back, and the people think it's a joke. It's a fairy tale that he's not gonna come back, and there's everything that's going on has already happened before, and I'm like not quite like how there's happening right now. We could be the last generation. God can come at any moment. The trumpet sound, and what happens when you get left behind for whatever ridiculous reason that you're doing. What happens if the trumpet sounds and you get left behind? Now what? You're gonna be the one shouting, "Oh, God came," and then everybody's gonna be looking at you, and that's insane. Why are you here then? You can't even imagine how embarrassing that would be. You know what's going on, so what are you here? I cannot imagine myself in that position. Remember, so going back to how the depression started, it came quickly that I realized that I was losing friends, I was losing time, precious time. I was spending too much time on the internet, and I was losing touch in getting a girlfriend. I was losing touch in getting starting my family. I was losing time in spending time with my family, and it caused me to become a distance from my family, because my parents were very liberal until this moment, anyways. And it caused me to feel like the old guy out, and I was feeling lonely and sad, and just feel like, since Twitter suspended me, um, what now? Like, and thank God that I haven't been deplatformed. like others have, or purged from the system as others have. But I did get attacked from outside the internet, and I did, lose friends over this political, sorry, fiasco. But God remained faithful, and He rescued me. I was gonna become an incel, and just live a life of celibacy, but not because I hate women. So that much, I'm gonna get that out of the way. I don't hate women. Just when I became a celibacy because of with all that's going on in the world. You can't even tell a man and a woman apart anymore. And these people are just destroying or destabilizing everything. So I was just in a dark place, and I went to my knees and asked God to help me, to give me peace inside my soul that I needed, to give me wisdom, to comfort me, because when you take the red pill, you realize that life is so depressing. Like there is no escape from this. We're in a dark world where demons run around and do whatever they want with whoever they want. And when you're a light, you get attacked. And it's like this. Is that this scene from the Matrix where everybody becomes Smith? It's just so depressing. I remember just thinking like, what's the point of life if everything is just such a hot mess? Like, why am I here? Why do I take the red pill for? I become, I was I was becoming just like nihilistic and narcissistic and just a loner walking my own path without God really walking by my side, because Satan really wanted me to feel like I'm alone. It's me versus the world, because nobody else is gonna help. God is not gonna help. I mean, if you look around, what's going on? That's what kind of what was becoming. I almost became an atheist because of it, because I didn't see God really doing much of anything. It's the will of man that was seen more of. And it wasn't until the brink of suicide that God just brought me up and said, because I grew up in the church. I've seen His power, believe it or not. I've seen people's lives change because of Him. I've seen Him manifest in incredible ways. And I'm talking from a personal standpoint, because I've seen Him with my own eyes and hear in my own ears. So God said in that time, in that particular moment, how can you deny me if you have seen my power? How? And that made me cry, because I realized that it was just me, too much of me, and not much of Him. Like that song, more of Him, less of me. It was more me, less of Him. I was kicking God out of my life, and the more I kick Him out of my life, the more fertile ground Satan got, and Satan brands you, because when you're not walking with God, you're walking with them. I was walking with them because I was starting to not care if God would, I read if God was listening or not, or what action He was going to take. So I just started living the vida loca, pornography, seeing content that I shouldn't be watching, saying, saying blasphemous stuff, cursing, becoming a really bad dude. I guess you can say the Peter Parker, where he gets um, possessed by the same way Venom, kind of like that, and it caused me to become to embrace a personality that I never thought that was dormant in me. That's the thing that Satan did. He opened doors that I thought was shut, and into me came resentment and anger and frustration, jealousy, deep, deep hatred for the people who once stood by me and taught me, watched me grow alongside them. It caused me to hate them, all of them, and seek friends who were the opposite of them. And my friends were nowhere to be seen. And if they would have seen this, they would have just said that to pick myself up by the bootstraps and shake it off, and I couldn't. I couldn't. I felt like at that time Satan really wanted my soul, and he almost obtained it. And just in that day, I got into a car accident a couple of days after that. I got into a car accident, which was total loss. Fortunately, I didn't get any burns or scratch marks or anything on me. Even though I did get burned, but not to the point where I needed, stitches, and I ended up needing to go to an EP room. So God was merciful. God was merciful. But He told me I had to change. It's not going to be easy. And God is the potter, and you're the pot. So that means that in order for you to be a new you, He's going to have to break you, mold you, and make you pass through the fire. And when you pass through the fire, He's gonna want your trust when everything goes bad. He wants you to praise Him and not complain. When you go through the fire, you have to learn how to forgive. He wants you to learn how to forgive. When you go through the fire, even though everything goes wrong in your life, financially goes wrong, emotionally goes wrong, everything goes wrong around you, collapses, the world feels like it's collapsing, trust in God. He is the peace in the middle of the tempest. He is that peace. And it's not unlike anything I ever experienced that day. Because I didn't really have. I feel like my relationship with Him has been strained ever since a past incident unrelated to this. And now I realize that God is there, even when you don't feel like He is. Yahweh is there. Taking notes, watching you, and letting you hit yourself against the wall until you learn that you need Him. Because sometimes God is like a father. He disciplines, but He also lets you hit yourself against the wall. Because your lessons, sometimes people have to learn the hard way in order to wake up. And that's how I learned. And I'm never going to forget that day. That's the day I felt a change in my life. That I wouldn't want to, I do not want to, lose sight of. Because when I experienced that day, I can't describe it. I can't describe it. God is powerful and merciful. A true counselor that I didn't know I had, because I was pushing Him away. And in pushing Him away, obviously everything was going to go wrong for me. And it did. It went wrong for me. But I now know that He exists. He's everywhere, and He's in control, and He wants me and many others to repent and go back to the things, to the way I was before all of this happened, and change me for the worse. Because I've been watching YouTubers like Hunter Avalon. I've been watching Roman Millennium. I've been watching um, Alan Crowder's, who's now has a heart condition. So I'm praying for him and how they changed. Because this is who I grew up with watching, and they mold me. So I guess you can say they taught me. They were my teachers, because I didn't get indoctrinated, but they started watching their content and started to see life for the better. I just didn't like what the Republican side has been turning into now, which has been turning into a frigid, cold, isolated place, and where, well, the White Queen is just cold, but the Red Queen is just as cold, and Democrats are just vile. But then again, I keep forgetting that these two are one of the same. Because the White Queen is the Republican side, but it's not pure holy. It's filled with stains in their dresses. They're ripped. It's not their dress is ripped. So when I refer the Republican side as the White Queen, I'm saying that their dress has wrinkles and is stained. And the Red Queen Democrats are just pure evil. These two entities operate under the Prince of Darkness, because you cannot deny the one who patrols the world and watches everything that's watching everything that goes by, and all the kingdoms of the world are his. But God is the creator, and He's coming back to take what's His, and He is the king of the world. God is the king of the world, of the universe, and He's coming back to claim it. And Satan knows his time is short to destroy humanity, especially His people. God's people are His primary target, and He's been doing so with the mainstream media, with politics, with propaganda, with technology, that it's distancing yourself from your normal self and from your family. So his objective is to freeze your heart, so you don't connect with God, and that you become another company in the lake of fire. Because their main objective is to get you to go to hell for all and to destroy your soul in hell. That's his objective. But fortunately, you have a means to combat that by turning to Christ, asking for forgiveness, and asking Him to teach you His ways, so that you can reach repentance and go to the kingdom of God. And that's what I was lacking. I was lacking spiritual connection with God, because it was too much internet, too much Twitter drama, too much just ripping people to shreds with my opinions. It was, I felt, I guess you can say, like Jeremiah, you know, but Jeremiah wouldn't approve of me just getting into senseless arguments and ripping people to shreds. Your approach as a Christian is to transform, to change, to help the brokenhearted, to help those who are lost, not push them away, turn the other cheek, which is what I really detest. I detested that verse for a very long time. because I felt like there's nothing to gain from weakness, but then I'm starting to realize that God's kindness wasn't weakness. Christ's kindness was strength from the beginning. He created everything. And God is omnipotent. So, you know, he's the most powerful there is. And you live day by day, night by night, every day, every hour, minutes, seconds, you live by his mercy. Because your life can switch in an instant. He can take it away in an hour, in a second, but you live. You have the breath of life because of God's grace. And he doesn't want his people divided. He's coming back for his bride. So you're either with the whore of Babylon or you're with the bride. And I choose to be with the bride, but not returning back to how I was before. And taking responsibility for my actions. Because I didn't, those who I attacked, I shouldn't have done that. And I did. I don't know, I can't take it back. Because I don't know where they went. I don't know, I'm just hoping that they see this video and reflect that there are people out there who are just as confused as they are, and they're approaching people from a negative standpoint, and they're causing the bridge divide to be more, expand more. So, they if you read the Bible, those who don't love don't know God, because God is love. And I've been a Christian all my life. I grew up I don't have any excuse. I grew up in the church. Then I just didn't came into the church. It's just, I guess you can say, I turned into rebelliousness and just left everything. And when you're my age, you're gonna feel like you're missing out on stuff that you shouldn't be missing out, and I have a lot to gain. You can't forget that nothing is promised. God has a mission for you. If He allowed you to live this long, if He allowed you to, grow up in the church, grasp everything. I feel like the last I'm a generation of the old ways, because I still listen to old songs. I came from a Hispanic, a Hispanic church, so I still listen to Marcos Witt, Grupo Inspiración, Palabra en Acción, those musical groups. Ebenezer Honduras, Paul Wilbur, those people. And, it stayed with me for a very long time. Because, like I said before, I've seen God's power. I've seen Him heal the sick, restore the wealth. Take broken pieces and put them back together. Fix life that were never fixable. God is real. God is powerful. God is still here. Technology hasn't eradicated His existence. You just have to, meditate in His presence and ask Him to comfort you and to give you guidance and direction in life. Because it's scary to live without God, especially now when the whole world has become one large insane asylum. You don't want to live, and you don't want to spend an eternity away from God. You don't. Hell is real. And it has been around since the days of Adam and Eve. Because the angels sinned, and He cast them out. And in the Bible says that sin was already in in the Garden of Eden as a cherub. So, it started from that particular time. Hell is real. People think it's a joke. Others think it's not even real. No, I mean, but it's real. And the second death, it's real. I think it's time for people to meditate in the reality that this political nonsense is going to lead nowhere. The prophecy has to be fulfilled. And you have to turn to God, as I did. In a time where in a time that I kind of hit rock bottom. And I'm only alive now because of His mercy, because He came to my rescue. He came into my mind and said, look where you're at. You didn't used to be here. You used to be a Christian boy. What happened to you, Danny? What happened to you? Even after the car accident, which I should be dead for total loss, I still can't believe, how God is faithful, and how death and life are in His hands. And those He called forth, He gives them a mission. Just like Jonah. If you don't listen to God, He makes sure you learn your lesson. And I guess you can say I was in the belly of the fish until God purged me out. And that's how where people are right now. Many people who are hurt, broken, who used to know God, and they're in the belly of they're in the belly of the fish. Until God says, come out. Come out. So I guess you could say I am Jonah. So this is my testimony. I hope this helps somebody out there who's going through the same issues as I am. And pray, fast, because I read the Bible, and I really like the story of Esther, the girl who did a true Cinderella story, if I may add. And I read what she said about fasting when approaching the king, that her faith was incredible, so incredible that she said this. She said, fast for me for day and night, and I will tell my servants to do the same. And then I will approach to the king, though it's against his law. And if I perish, I perish. Remember, stay with me for that incredible faith. But she realized that she and the people, the Jews, have rebelled against Yahweh, and Yahweh has delivered them into the hands of the enemy. So they cried and they prayed and they fasted so that God can turn the enemy's plans against them. And He did. He did. So God is powerful. And so I hope this testimony helps someone out there. And you're not alone. We all been there. So this is my testimony. God bless. And I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.